Hey people, picture this. You're just alone in your room playing some Civ 3 when all of a sudden your dad barges in and he says, "Are you winning, son?" What do you say? How do you know the answer to that question? How do you know whether you are on pace currently to close out the game with what you have, or whether you still need to make more plays in order to put yourself in that position? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, and I have arranged a handy spreadsheet here. So this is the list of the bonuses the AI gets on different difficulties, but I've also added some columns. So how big do you need to be to out-tech an AI? So for example, this game we're looking at right now is on Emperor difficulty. So you need to be 20 or 70% as big as the AI in terms of population and land area in order to tech faster than them if you manage your economy optimally, which is a big if, but we will come back to that. First, let's look at this game, and you can see how this might affect your decision. So this is a save that somebody sent me. It's on Emperor difficulty, and he has 26, and the Netherlands has 30. So he is about 90% as big as the AI. So going by our chart here, he is on pace to close out the game because he can out-tech the AI. But he might not know that. Either he doesn't know that he is at an advantage because of the difficulty, or he doesn't know how to manage his economy effectively. On top of this, you can also use military alliances to make your odds even better. So, for example, let's say the Dutch declared war on Portugal, and they were threatening the possibility of like reaching more than you being 70% of them, right? So you could just make an alliance with France and Portugal and maybe Babylon too, and everybody declare war on the Dutch at the same time. So what that would mean is that the Dutch would be forced into fascism, if they're in the industrial era at least. And then they just use hurry production to slave away all their crap, and they lose all their population, they lose the commerce bonus, and they can't trade with anyone because they're at war. So because of that, their technical capabilities go down, and even if they conquer the Portuguese, you can still out-tech them, despite being smaller than them. So this is the calculations that you can make in your own games, and these are ballparks, but you can definitely use this information as long as you know that you have to manage your economy optimally. So what does that mean? I have prepared a handy-dandy checklist. What does it mean to be having an optimal economy? Or roughly, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be near perfect. So are you in Republic? That speaks for itself. Are you trading well? Are you are you under or near the unit support cap? Do you have key buildings in core cities? So pretty much this just means aqueducts and libraries. I wouldn't even put the courthouse or the university on this, even though they're great buildings to have. If you do have them, that's fantastic, but I wouldn't say that they're absolutely key, most important building in the world. Mostly it's just aqueducts and libraries. There's one other building too, though. It's the marketplace. So are you managing your happiness reasonably well? And so one of the ways you can manage it well is by using marketplace plus luxuries. So if you need the marketplaces for happiness, for option, or for the fifth item on our checklist, then they are included in this key building thing right here. Otherwise, you can use the happiness slider. And if you're below 30%, if you're like 0, 10, or 20, I'd say that you're managing your happiness reasonably well as long as you're not using entertainers. And the last point is, do you have your tile improvements in core cities? Because by the time you're making these calculations, it's far enough to the game that you can have all of your tile improvements, at least in your core cities. But often people neglect that. So it really hampers their economy, it hampers their growth, and it hampers their commerce. And of course, having low growth hampers your commerce too. So let's put this checklist into practice. This is a save that was sent to me. Let's see if he's meeting all these criteria to have a well-functioning economy. So, because he's smaller than the Dutch, but if he manages his economy well, he should be on pace to win. He should be on pace to out-tech the Dutch. So is he in Republic? Yes, he is in Republic. Fantastic. Is he trading well? Well, he sent me an email describing his situation. And in it, he gives me a brief summary of how he thinks that tech trading works. And this list is completely correct. All of this information is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. He clearly understands the advice I've been giving about how to trade techs and how to manage trade. So I would say that point 2, he definitely meets this criteria. So are you under or near the unit support cap? Well, right now he is at 52 out of 40. He has a bunch of horsemen. I don't think it's really late in the game. You don't really... I'd just disband the horsemen at this point. But he's not like stupidly over the cap. This is like an acceptable amount of units to have. I wish they were better units, but this is an acceptable number of units to have. So I'd say he meets this criteria too. And do you have key buildings in core cities? In fact, he has too many buildings in some of these, or not too many, but he's got libraries in non-core cities. He's got courthouses. He's doing quite well. He's got the pyramids, so he's got granaries in all his cities too. So yeah, he's meeting this criteria. Now the last two are the ones where he falls flat. So are you managing your happiness reasonably well? He's using the luxury slider. He knows to do that. 10%. The issue is he's got entertainers in all his cities. And if you put these last 2 points together, you're going to see the problem and why is he teching so slow. So check out his capital. Currently, his capital is at 12 science per turn. So if we turn this up, so this costs you 18 gold per turn. Not too bad. And then you reassign your citizens. So we do this, this, and this. So we were at 12 science per turn? Oh, no. Oh, yeah, we were at 12 science per turn, and now we're at 22. So that just got us 10 science per turn in this city alone. And of course, across our other cities, it's going to be a big effect too. So we're teching literally almost double speed thanks to that. We're losing a bit more gold per turn, but we can sell techs and make up for that. That's okay. The important part is teching fast. So yeah, and this applies to all of his cities. He has unworked tiles. Like, look at this. So this is just 2 gold per turn. Or sorry, 3 gold per turn because of the library right here. 3 gold per turn. This city is just going to straight up stop growing because it doesn't have enough tile improvements and it doesn't have a harbor. Yeah, like if your cities don't grow and if you don't have roads on your tiles, you're going to have bad commerce and then you won't tech to your full potential. So it's important to do those things. So yeah, tile improvements and of course, use your happiness. So what I like to do for happiness, he actually has the capacity. Like he's trading for luxuries. That's good. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he's got these gems here. So he could colony that, or he could, looks like it's going to expand next turn and he'll get that. So 5 luxuries with markets. The market alone will give you 4 happy faces plus the 5 you get base from the luxuries. So 9 happiness per turn for just having a market and the luxuries in your cities. That's pretty good. He would not need to be using the happiness slider at all if he did that, but he's not doing that. And so that's the reason his tech is slow. So you could see how this kind of assessment, I mean, first of all, it's important to be teching as fast as possible, but it leads to me not having to misplay games. So I don't have to push my luck if I'm already in an advantageous position. So let's take a look what he did. He could have just, it'd be pretty trivial just to, I mean, once the border expands, he has 5 luxuries. Just build a market in your core cities. And then, yeah, fix your happiness and build more workers and build all the key tile improvements. If you do that, you can out-tech the Dutch. Instead, he fought a war against the Dutch. And he didn't lose like a ton from it, but he wasted a bunch of time. So now the Dutch are in the industrial era, and he still doesn't even have theology. So that's the issue that he's facing. That because he didn't identify that he was already in the lead, and all he had to do was shore up his economy, he continued to mismanage his economy. Look at this. These are still not roaded. He didn't fix any of these problems that he's having. He wasted a ton of time, and he let the Dutch get even bigger and even more far ahead because he wasn't having his... obviously, war weariness is not fantastic in terms of 0.5 on this list right here. You're going to tech very slowly if you're having war weariness issues in Republic. Last thing I wanted to clarify was what it means to be a core city. So I'd say a core city is any city that has 55% corruption or lower. Obviously, this corruption changes with buildings and courthouses. But for example, a city like this is not a core city. So having a library here is not top priority. It doesn't, I wouldn't say that your economy is in shambles because you don't have that. Same thing with a city like this. Whereas a city like Burka, this is probably borderline. So yeah, if you sell the courthouse, this is like exactly... Oh no, this isn't even a core city. Yeah, interesting. But it's good that he made it a core city by building a courthouse. So that would justify having the library in there. But yeah, like everything in Trondheim and everything west of Trondheim would be considered core. So if you don't have the library and the aqueducts in those cities, then your economies can be slowed down a bit. And having a market is also very important so that those cities can grow very big and not have happiness issues. And then produce a lot of commerce that way, and you get more mileage out of the courthouses or the libraries and universities and the stuff that you've already built. So yeah, so just keep in mind that. Keep in mind this chart over here. Remember, don't do more than you have to. So get used to closing. If you want to close out the game by domination, obviously this doesn't quite apply, but it still applies if you're going by domination, because it would mean in this case, if you wanted to win by domination, that you wouldn't have to go fight the Dutch. You would just tech to artillery or tech to bombers, and then win by that. If you got like that big window where they don't have bombers yet, and you can just build up a massive stack and kill them, then even though you're going for a domination victory, you don't have to do any more dominating just yet. You can wait for that big power spike. So yeah, I hope you guys like this tutorial. I'll see you guys next time.